Good afternoon, everybody, and apologies for that short delay there, but we are delighted to have all our panelists on board now for our final session of Fit Show Live Online 2021. It's been a great couple of days, and we are absolutely finishing on a high with a team of experts in the smart tech world, which we know is going to be huge news for all of us working in the industry. So I'll do a quick introduction to all of our panelists. I'm sure during the part of our conversation, they will tell you a little bit more about themselves. But we have joining us today, we have Gio Laporta. So Gio, welcome. Gio is the director at Smart Ready and has been instrumental in driving the application and development of smart technology and hardware in the windows and doors industry. Thanks for joining us, Gio. We know you're a busy man, so thank you so much. We have got Alan, and Alan Burges is group chair at Masterframe. So from draftsman to salesman and then on to forming his own successful sash window and manufacturing business. So thank you for joining us, Alan.
Good afternoon.
We have Nick Dutton, and Nick, a man of a few words so far, but all I have to say, CEO and partner at Brisant Secure, and he will definitely be sharing all the years of his experience, although I don't know how many years, but many years of experience as we go through today. And then last but by no means least, we have Jeyasingam, who is Chief Technology Officer at ERA Home Security. So a senior tech executive who's been working in the industry for over 25 years, bringing new consumer products through. Okay. So thanks, Jay. Lovely to have you all with us. As we've said, these panels work best over the last couple of days where you guys are engaged with us. So we would love to have your questions. So please do drop them in the chat box or click on Ask a Question at the bottom. I'll keep an eye on those and direct the questions to the panel. If you have someone specifically that you would like to answer your question, then please do put that in your notes. But other than that, I will just ask it of everyone. But please do ask your questions. It's most important that we're answering the things that you want to know. But let's kick off. We're talking on this panel all about smart tech and homes. So, Gio, I'm going to come to you straight first of all. What would you say is the current level of understanding by homeowners of smart tech when it comes to windows and doors?
Very little, in my opinion. Our industry is not known for kind of reaching out directly to the end user. And only kind of the larger companies like Everest, Angulan and SafeStyle are the only kind of three companies that come to mind that kind of focus on getting the message across to the end user. So from that respect, I think there's a lot of work that we need to do as an industry to get messages across to the end user, to tell them the advantages of smart, what kind of advantages that they bring, and then maybe give them calls to pick windows and doors over, a new bathroom or a new kitchen, because the benefits of having smart windows and doors, I'm sure the rest of the panel will elaborate, are massive compared to having a fresh kind of new bath to step into. We're talking about security, we're talking about safety, and a whole load of heap of advantages. So yeah, as a sector, I'm sure the rest of the panel will have their opinion on it. We do have to do more in order to get to the end user and to get people replacing windows as opposed to picking other home improvement sectors.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, it feels like it's more important than other things we could be spending money on, but we know less about it. And
yes.
Nick, what's your thoughts on that? What do you think the level of homeowner understanding of smart technology is?
I'd agree with Gio in that I think it's low. However, the rate of growth is quite phenomenal, but then it's always much easier to get phenomenal growth when you're starting from a low point. I'm not entirely sure about the analogy about whether or not I'd sacrifice a bath for it, but I think, currently the level of understanding, there's statistics out there that say that I think 57% of homes now have at least one smart home device. That sounds like a really high, like a really high take-up rate. But then how much technology or how much functionality is there built into those smart devices that people have that's sitting there completely redundant and they've got no idea what it's capable of?
Sorry, guys. I thought the question was how much do they know about smart tech when it comes to windows and doors and not necessarily about smart in general?
Yeah. So I think when it comes to specifically talking about windows and doors, what I was coming to was that when people start to get the smart bug, then they start wanting to get more things connected to it. When they've got something, when they've learnt about how their TV can do this, or their Apple TV can do that, or Samsung smart things, and the cost of entry is so relatively low. Once they get the bug, then all of a sudden they start thinking, oh, perhaps if I could do this with it, and then they'll set a scene and they can have lights coming on all at the same time, and then all of a sudden it becomes it grows at a very, very quick rate, and it grows through windows and doors, and it grows through every other item in the house that they've historically had to walk over or go and touch or turn on or remember to think about. So, I think the level of understanding is very low for our sector, for our products, but it's growing really quickly as people get that bug.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, Nick. I think a good illustration then of what people are seeing in their homes in terms of smart tech. So I don't know if you've been to the Samsung Experience Centre at St Pancras, where they've got their fridges that bring you up a recipe based on what's in your fridge. And so we're probably a little bit more familiar with smart tech in other areas around the home. But Jay, coming to you, what are the trends that people are asking for in terms of smart tech when it comes to windows and doors? What are homeowners really wanting?
So I've been in this space for a while right now, smart home space, 12, 13 years. Before here, I was part of a company called YCAM Solutions, where we pioneered cameras and alarms and all that. And, I've been with Era for the last 2.5 years. I think what I'm seeing right now is the DIY products, that's all saturated. There is like Nick said, there's a lot of awareness around it, and people know what smart is. If you talk back in 2011, 12, people don't even know. You go to Currys, you don't know where to put these devices, whether near the TV or in front of fridge. We didn't have a smart home division in Currys, but now I think it's moving into the bigger products, the doors, the windows, the energy batteries. I think this is the second wave of things where it's not DIY anymore. So that's the trend that we are seeing because of the way that the door and window industry works here in UK. I think the adoption level is much, much lower. I agree with you. But if you take to US, there's different stats around how many smart locks are there. I think the adoption in US is around 15 to 12%, whichever the survey you look at it. Here, what will be the adoption? Maybe 0.5. I don't know. We got 30 million households. So I think it's in a very early stage. I think the access solution is going to be the next camera, I think. When I say access solution, doors and windows access solution. But my concern is the industry has to change. If the industry is not changing, we're just going to miss this out, and some American company will come and build everything for us.
And Alan, coming over to you, what are some of the trends that you're seeing in your business that people are asking for in terms of incorporating smart technology into windows and doors specifically?
Well, as a sash window manufacturer, everything that we do is all about the aesthetics. That has to look like an old-fashioned wooden window. That's the primary function of replacement windows. I really see smart technology. I mean, we've known Geo for a good number of years, probably the best part of 20 years or so, and we've had some great products from him. We've got the advantage of being able to put the units and things into, but the demand for it is pretty low. As Nick said, you're starting from a fairly low base, and it has to be seen that it's a convenience sale. It's not something which is an absolute necessity. To have glass and to have security and to have energy efficiency, etc., etc. These are the basic fundamentals. You've got to have those as part of your window. Whereas this is a nice to have. So it's something extra and in addition. But as most of the guys have said, is it a lot of people haven't yet got that bug? I mean, we've just done up the house and got a kitchen and bathroom, and Gio, you're wrong, mate. People want to know that they've got a bath, right? I mean, there's a lot of discussion over that.
Well, I'm wrong for now because everyone doesn't know any better. But let me have my say over the next few years and see if that answers the same.
Yeah. But the key to it is, we've just got a little bit of hi-fi down in the kitchen end, and we've for years we've had a radio in the kitchen. Now we've got the facility of having music coming through the ceiling. It's coming, and some of us are dinosaurs. But I really do see there's a big opportunity, specifically for the new build, for the high tech specifier, where they're building their own properties, they're building their own homes, their forever house. And my question really is, are we expecting the industry to push this through or to pull it through? Do we expect the specifiers to specify it at that end, in other words, pushing the specification through the system, or do we expect the installers to pull this through the retail customers and try and sell it to them? But I do fall back on the fact that it's definitely a convenient sale more than a necessity.
I'd like to pick up on the point that you made there, Alan, about it's a convenience sale rather than a necessity. I think it's easy to say that convenience has always sold, but at what stage is it no longer convenient, and at what stage does convenience cross over into necessity? When you're 50, 60 miles away from home and you have that moment and you think, oh bugger, did I lock the door? Then is that really a convenience to have the smart technology to be able to either give you the peace of mind, or to be able to be certain, or better still, to lock it when you did unlock it? I'd say that's gone beyond then convenience, that's gone into something that's much more useful.
You know what? Sorry, could I just pick up? That's a different responses between a hardcore product focused man, which is you, Alan, a manufacturer, and a marketeer, which is Nick Dutton. Really kind of opposing thinking. Nuclear's right, by the way. I'm not saying they're not nuclear's right, but I was smiling because I almost knew what Nick was going to say. It was obvious to me that he was going to challenge that whole convenience thing and think, is it pull or push? So I think we have to, as an industry, pull the customer in and not expect the customer to come to us and say, oh, do you do smart windows? And that's the kind of the main underlining kind of driving factor of all marketers.
But in your discussion there, it really depends on the consumer. Who is that consumer? If that consumer is somebody who's going to work 50 miles away and going, oh, did I lock the front door? Or is it an elderly couple who always stay in the home? They very, very rarely go out.
Well, smart's more about just locking and unlocking.
No, I know.
It's more than that. I just think I think the overall kind of question needs to be: is it push or pull? And I think pull is definitely the one with any new product. Any product, you've got to pull the consumer into saying this is what you want. Consumers tend to approach a market or buying a product with absolutely no knowledge. So you can't expect them to say, oh, well, actually, I have all this knowledge and I know what I want. So you've got to pull them through. And that's the job of the retail sector and that's the industry. You have to say, this is why you want it. This is why it's good for you. And this is why you need to pick a bath or windows over a bath. It's as simple as that.
In turn, that defines the difference between whether or not they buy it or whether or not they're sold it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know. I think we've kind of explored this question. There's quite a few questions on there. I mean, we can probably have an 8-hour session.
We could just spend the whole of the debate talking about responsibilities.
But it's interesting what everyone has to say, and clearly it's subject where it can be expanded and it could be talked about for an hour just on that one kind of line of topic. But I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
Yeah, no worries. I think interesting what you were saying, Gio, about it's not just about smart window, whether the door's locked, whether the window's locked, that kind of thing. But I have heard a comment from you saying that your vision is that within 5 years, every window and door will be smart ready, which is ambitious to say the least. But how do you think that adoption is going to go? Is there a tipping point where it becomes mainstream, or what do they have to become? Because it feels like it's quite niche benefits that people.
No,
when does it become mainstream?
See, tipping point in our sector is when things have value and it's cheap. That's the tipping point. So as long as you get to the point where things add value and it's cheap, and also easy to sell, then they're your tipping points. So obviously, I'm not going to let you guys know, what I've got in mind for next year's Fit Show, but I've got all those three covered, and the tipping point will follow accordingly afterwards. But they are like with any sector, to be fair. But in our sector in particular, it is about making it a great sales product, very affordable and easy to sell. Once you've reached those three kind of key factors, then tipping point will probably follow fairly quickly. I'm sure you guys will agree with what I say. If you've been in it long enough, you understand when the window industry went from a spag to shoot bolt. So that was probably in the early 90s. So the spag is the old traditional lock that only has 2 points, and the shoot bolt is when you had the shoot bolts on there. Now, most people, when introducing the shoot bolt, would have thought that would have been a slow progress. You had it as an added benefit because it added like 3 or 4 quid to a window, if not more. So that's quite a significant amount, when you look at what they're used to. But it's almost like overnight, people went from or the majority of the industry went from spag to shoot bolt because it was more convenient and had added value, and it wasn't that much more difficult to fit. So the tipping point came fairly quickly. And Saracen was a great, I think, era was part of that, because era was Laird and Laird was Saracen, and Saracen introduced the Saracen lock and the anti-braking guarantee. So the anti-braking guarantee added value. The ease of the installment of the Saracen shoot bolt, the original shoot bolt, was easy to fit. So clearly it was cost-effective product. So it kind of tipping point reached, and happened really quickly. I'm talking about within a space of 12 to 18 months. People just went all over to shoot bolt, and then the majority became shoot bolt, and the minority became its spag. So, if you've been in it long enough, you kind of see the trends, and you understand the trends.
And interesting, just picking up on that point, Jay, coming to you. In terms of, you've brought many consumer products to market, and you're kind of really close to those consumer trends. So what are the benefits that smart technology in windows and doors will bring to consumers that they really will see the value of? Joe's talking about they need to add value. Well, how will these products start to add value for consumers?
So I heard 2 terms, convenient and security. I like to call them lifestyle and security, So the whole smart home products, we can group them into 3 categories mainly. 4, entertainment, you've got the smart speakers and the TVs and stuff like that. Second one, security products. That's where I think the doors and windows sitting at the moment. Energy products, lights and everything, and then finally all the other big products, your robots or whatever that's coming. So I think the security is core right now. It's moving fast. The problem I see is it's not the consumers don't want this. I think the industry is not changing fast enough. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So let's take the camera business. CCTV, they say if you walk in London for 1 hour, you will be captured by 60 CCTVs or something like that, right? So the CCTV has been with us for so many years, but they are cable connected. And we saw those things being replaced by IP cameras in a short period of 2 to 4 years, actually. Now, what I'm seeing right now is in the door and window industry, which is new to me. Just to be clear, I know this only for 2 years. Is a very early stage, and one of the reason is the education piece is not there. The installers or the manufacturers, they are not being educated on what the consumers want, how we can adapt quickly. Give you an example. A test like Pass24, I'm sure a lot of people know here actually. Electronic Pass24, you do a physical attack, it measures how quickly you can break in and stuff like that. A lot of things can be overcome if you have a smart piece. So it's not only convenient, it's also security. and it's security for 21st century. And I think if we start educating the customers that there's a piece like this, and then the customers will start adapting much faster, 2 to 3 years max.
Agreed. Yeah.
Why do you think, Jay, that the industry has been, in your opinion, and I'm not saying that I disagree with your opinion, but why do you think that the industry has been so slow and so reluctant to adopt smart technology?
I think one of the reason is it's still very local, right? So we have multiple players doing this in this space, right? So there is X company control, I don't know, Midlands, another company controls another one. So this one needs a lot of investment for sure. Smart needs investment. What we are seeing, you can see on the other sectors of smart, it's converging under big multinationals. What we have seen in America and what as our boy are doing, you saw them just paying $3.2 billion to buy a smart lock company. So I think one of the reasons why industry is lacking behind is it's still controlled by smaller players. And if it start converging and the whole industry start playing together, work together as a smart, council or whatever it's called, that'll accelerate this adoption. That's my view anyway.
Can we wrap up this question because it's gone on for ages? Yeah, go on.
Just picking up on kind of what you were saying there about kind of how people are adopting, and what are the products then that we're seeing that customers are asking for that are performing really, really well in the marketplace? I'm conscious there's loads of innovation out there, but what are the things that we're seeing that are making a real impact and a real dent in the market so far? Alan, is there anything that you're seeing in terms of products?
I think it comes back to this, to the actual marketplace of front doors. I mean, front doors seem to be the easiest place for this product to start and piggyback onto, and then develop from there. We've been smart ready ourselves a couple of 3 years now, so that we can provide it if asked for. But it's not something which the consumer is demanding, and if nobody knows about it, and will the installers try and sell it? Possibly not, because it might be a little bit out of their comfort zone. And let's face it, a window. It's a basic kind of product. This is taking it to a new level. So at this moment in time, there is a small level of interest. But I think it's really going to stem from those big self-build, building their little mansion for their retirement home. It's that market sector, and they are going to be very, very switched on to all things smart.
Brilliant, thank you, Alan. And Gio, what do you think of the products that are really starting to make an impact in the market?
Clearly everyone knows that we've had kind of some delays with our product because of a whole heap of problems. I may have not be the right person to answer that question. I'm sure Jay and Nick, who already have kind of smart products out in the marketplace, will be better placed. But I will tell you, from next year, what they'll be looking for, and that will be smart ready products. That's all I can really say. But right now, I'll hand it over to Jay and Nick.
So we've lost Nick for Nick, you back? Do you want to share with us what products you think are really making a difference in the market at the moment?
I think the proliferation, the rate that smart tech is, from what I'm seeing, that it's working its way through our televisions. They're turning into hubs. The TV is turning into so much more than it has been, or we've been used to seeing it forever. And relatively speaking, compared to the price points that they've been in the past, they're significantly more affordable. As Gio was saying earlier, stuff has to be within reach. And when you look at the functionality and the smart tech that you can inherit within just changing a TV for a few hundred quid now. It's quite remarkable.
Jay,
I think the best person to speak to, I think it's Jay on this one here, because they've obviously had their security, their smart security program out in the marketplace for quite a while, and they have like a great range of installers out there. I'm not taking nothing away from you, Nick. I'm just saying that I know that that Era have a much more focused approach to smart. So I'm really interested in what Jay has to say.
So I think we got obviously cameras and alarms. I think there's a massive missing piece, because cameras and alarms are certain level of defense. The first level of defense is your door and window, and what I like to call is a Era home. Era home is a fully secured home. That means the defense start in the first level, and those are the type of products that we are building right now, and you will see very soon in the market. I think with that, the American companies have to come and talk to us, actually, the local window and door manufacturers. It takes ages to build a lock, especially British locks. It's not easy. It's not just a dead ball, a motor driving the dead ball here and there.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think those are the type of products we should be focusing on, doors and window products. And then that'll supplement nicely the existing smart homes products like alarms and cameras and all that stuff.
Would you agree that obviously you're talking about remote locking, and like yourself as well as Era and as well as Nick have led that kind of march in terms of remote locking from wherever you are in the world. But and you're talking that being a really important part of security, but isn't security a step before that? Is actually knowing that your windows and doors are locked?
Well, I mean, that comes on to, I think one of the questions that was on here that I'd got a note down, Gio, that, what are homeowners currently seeking in terms of smart solutions? I think there's convenience or functionality, let's say, that they're not used to, but they're not prepared to sacrifice what they've already got. Which would be security. So when you're talking about a smart lock or a smart door, then great convenience and added functionality, and being able to control it remotely and being able to time it and give access to certain people and not to other people. That's all fantastic. But if you have to sacrifice functionality that you've already got, in other words, if it doesn't come with a key, people are feeling really, really reluctant or resistant to give away the key. Because they've automatically got those questions: what if the batteries die? What if it fails? What if it does this? So to give them a key gives them that comfort blanket. You take that away, and you can see them glaze over and say no, thank you. And equally, security. As we've said for years and years, ultimately the first job that lock's got to do is to keep the bad guys out. It can be as convenient and as functional as it likes, but if it's going to let the bad guys in really easily, then they're going to walk away.
Which is one of the things I was going to pick up on. One of the questions we talked about was, what are the challenges for homeowners in adopting smart tech in terms of windows and doors? So if we're not seeing the adoption picking up as quickly as we'd want, what are their main concerns? So you've alluded to one there, Nick, in terms of, people love that security blanket of a key. I'm not quite sure how confident I'd feel, I would have all the same questions about what if the batteries go. But, Gio, what are your thoughts on why homeowners aren't adopting it? What are the challenges?
You know what, I can be really brutally honest, but I'm not going to be. No, I'm not going to be brutally honest, because there might be a few lawsuits coming my way. But from what Nick said, is having that backup, having a key as a secondary way of getting in, if for whatever reason the technology fails, is really, really important. Even if they don't use it, or they use it 1% of the time, or even 0.1% of the time, they have to know they have a backup to get in or out if they want to get into their homes if you're going in. I think it's the confidence of whether people can get into their house more than getting out. Getting out, there's always a kind of fail-safe feature in the door that enables you to get out because of fire. But getting in is obviously the complete opposite. There shouldn't be any fail-safe unless the fail-safe is just as good as what they were used to, as what Nick was saying, in terms of they're not going to go backwards, well, they're going to go forwards. So there's been products out there that have been launched that haven't quite kind of met the standard in the past. And which has kind of scarred a lot of our sector, maybe not necessarily with the wider audience. I'm talking about retail, but certainly in our sector, there's been a lot of the locks that have been thrown back saying, I don't want this in my house. And that's kind of almost slowed down the acceptance and the adoption of anything smart, regardless of what it does or what it says. It's like, well, I've done that, tried it, it caused me a load of problems. A lot of people couldn't get into their home because our servers went down. We all know who we're talking about. And that's what I think, as any innovative smart company that's coming through the chains, that we spend a little bit more time getting the product right. Like I can say that for Era. I mean, Era, they're really focused on making sure that their products work all the time, smart products. So my hat goes off to Jay and the team at Era. But not everyone's like that. So that is what I think has probably been a bit of a, if nothing else, slowing down the adoption from smart and with the end user. And also, without saying it, it's also all the negative news stories that talked about being able to hack in to your kind of into your hub, and they've been able to see your little baby sleeping if you had a webcam. Those kind of stuff didn't help. So all those kind of panorama programs and those I can't remember the top of the head. What's that program at 6 o'clock that starts? That kind of focuses on trying to expose companies. Those kind of things hasn't helped the sector, smart sector. But I'm super confident that those things, with most things, people tend to kind of forget, get brought back into further down the thought process, and then they start looking at the advantages that smart can bring.
It's all that kind of, once people start seeing the benefits and that, you're not taking a key out and losing it. And how many of us have done that hundreds of times on a night out and got back home and thought, God, what do I do now? And you just wouldn't have those problems. So, which is brilliant. But we have got a couple of questions come in from our audience, which is great. So I'm just going to ask these to you for the moment. So I've got somebody saying, is it similar technology that tells me that my car is locked on a phone app? So, Jay, you're kind of the tech man. Is it similar technology that we would be seeing used on car smart tech?
Yeah, so the access solution as an industry is changing. So if you are using Apple phone, there's a technology called ultra wide broadband. The Apple phone support it. So once you have ultra wide broadband phone, you can use your phone to open a smart lock or a car. So you don't need a separate thing. That's getting a lot of momentum right now. What I like to say is, at the moment, the smart access solution products that we are building, doors and windows, they are transitional products. Like Gio and the others said, the people still expect a key. Why they expect a key? Because these products don't work 100%. So it's building the trust. But once the people know this works 100%, this key will be gone.
Yeah.
We don't know when that'll be gone. Yeah. But it's not just us trying to do it, but the big multinational are using it, like with ultra-wide broadband and their ultra-wideband chips and other stuff. Yeah.
I think on that, Jay, I mean, to answer the question that came in, that sort of functionality, that's not functionality that the industry's heading to. Our Ultian Smart product launched with that 2 years ago. That functionality is already there. But you talk about, the key will go. How many years, if we look, and we always keep looking to the automotive industry for analogies and comparisons, but how many years have we had remote controls, key fobs for our cars? It must be 20 plus years. So 20 plus years later on, we've still got, regardless of what brand of car you've got, somewhere in there's always, and still 20 years later, there's still a piece of metal secreted in there somewhere. And it's not about how reliable it is. It's about whether or not you drop it, whether or not it runs out of power. and even the automotive industry have still not got to the place where they're comfortable to take that mechanical piece of metal away that gives you the comfort that thinks, worst case scenario, I've still got something that I can find a slot somewhere in the car and it'll let me in.
So what was the question again? Sorry, what was the question? So
it was asking whether the smart tech that's applied in home windows and doors is the same as somebody would have on the app for their car to tell them that their car was locked.
Well, that's a different question. So obviously that's not understanding whether they can gain access and lock their cars from a million miles away. That's asking whether the car is locked or unlocked.
Yeah.
And I'm the guy to ask for that. That's what we've been focusing on. That's what we feel very, very important. To know at first point, we kind of jumped, I think, the hurdles, too many hurdles. We went straight into access control from anywhere in the world. I just think that kind of mental leap was too far. I think we need to, we forgot a much more simpler step. And the simpler step is my car locked? Is it not locked? Is my window locked? Is it not locked? Is my door locked? Is it not locked? And is it locked security? And then can that be faked? Which is really simple stuff. Is it open? Is it shut? Is it locked? Is it unlocked? And how am I confident in whether that door is locked or unlocked? That is what you need to focus on. And while that might sound very simple to most, to get that in a way which is, cost effective, easy to install, and easy for everyone to be able to sell, it can be incredibly easy, hard to do, but that's what we've been focusing on, and that's why I think the industry have done kind of skipped a massive step. And I keep saying, and I've been saying it for 3 or 4 years, and people keep kind of ignoring me and going for mainstream thinking, which is like, it's got to be locked. It's got to, you're able to lock it from a million miles away. You have to let your cleaners in, or you have to let, Deliveroo in, or you have to let Amazon delivery services in for your food. I'm not sure how many people that I would allow into my house I didn't know to put some food in my kitchen. I wouldn't do that. So we really need to get back to thinking in a much more simple terms.
Right.
And so whether that person asked that question was, it'd be buying my product.
Yeah. And I think it's such a good point to make, Gio, in terms of, does smart tech have to do absolutely everything that it could do right now, or does it just need to do some things that take people on the journey so that they start to think smart tech's doing this job and it'll do things in the future? So talking about the future, we have another question in from Bryn, who's in our audience, so thank you so much for this, who's saying there is plenty of smart tech options out there: electrically obscurable glass, integrated electrical blinds, smart door entry. What's coming and where is it going? So, Alan, we haven't heard from you for a while, so I'm going to come over to you. Sorry. Just conscious we haven't heard your voice in a little while, but what's coming and where's it going, do you think?
Well, it's more of the same, I fancy. Certainly, we've been able to install some obscurable glass, which is proven to be brilliant for certain applications. There's electronics and things connected to it. As far as blinds, we've all seen the blinds within the sealed units, etc. All of these things are fantastic, and I'm sure we will see. Yeah, you're talking to a dinosaur here. We're sash windows through and through. Our job is to try and make the product and the house look exactly how it looked 100 years ago. But there is this challenge that people also want the convenience of something which is a glass which turns on and off. They also want to know whether it's locked or is unlocked. They also want to know if they have blinds inside. But with all of these things, it's just natural progression. It really comes back down to, has somebody seen something on the telly which they went, that's brilliant, I want one of those in my home. Yeah. And therefore that then pulls the sale right the way through, because the demands from the installer, I've got to have it with that feature on it because that's brilliant. And that then forces the fabricators to, crikey, we better start incorporating that into our products. So I think it's all going to be driven from that end. But yeah, there are some continuing and interesting developments which will carry on regardless. But on the other hand, all of us have got to be mindful that we're living in zero carbon world. The great emphasis isn't sales being
Alan,
secure or convenient.
We're just losing you slightly as you're breaking up there. I don't know if you've got the thunderstorm that's currently hitting Darlington. So if you hear some rain and some thunder where I am, apologies. So I'm just going to leave that one there for a second, but conscious of time, and I just want to get as many questions in as we can. We've got another comment come in specifically to Gio. So sorry to put you on the spot for this one, but do you think installers are confident enough to install smart projects? Traditionally, anything involving electrics or wireless is swerved by many. So do you think installers are confident enough to install smart?
No, the answer is.
Can I ask another question on that then? And how do you all think you can help them with that then?
Yeah, I was going to follow up with that. So, okay, when I say no, it doesn't mean I'm going to walk away and not help installers. I come from a traditional sales background and from an installer background, so I know exactly what all installers want. I have friends that install. I have friends that have got fairly good businesses that are installers essentially, but they've kind of grown into more than one installers. So I totally get the whole installer. The installer wants to be able to sell a window at the best price he can and then fit it without any headache. He certainly doesn't want to be getting involved in the installation in terms of the electronics and things like that, because not because they haven't got the brains to do that. They have. They're just you just don't want to do it. And if you can develop a product that enables to give them smart, at least a step into the smart world without having to worry about any installation, then that's kind of the money ticket. So the quick answer is no. But so you need to be looking for a product, if I was an installer, that gives me the ability to sell a smart window, if you like, but without having to get involved in the technical side or in the installation or the setup side. And that is what Smart Ready is about, essentially. We focus on the prep of a window. So we put all the onus onto the fabricator and onto the sensor or the technology partners and say, you do all the hard work for the installers. The installers want an easy life. They don't want headache. They don't want any callbacks. They don't even want to have to sell the sensors. That's not what they want. So if you can give me a model that enables to allow me to get into the smart world without all those headaches, then it's great. And watch the space. Certainly, whoever that installer was, you're my customer.
It's good to hear. And as you say, it's not just about saying no, it's about that kind of, and here's why we're here to help you.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah.
That collaboration.
Simple answer, but there's always, and you probably get it by now, I've always got more to say than other than just no or yes. So yeah, I get it. The installer that was a very good question from an installer.
And I would keep asking the questions as long as they keep coming. So I'm conscious we're slightly over time, but our audience are really engaged and wanting to ask you loads now. They're coming through in a flood. So I've got another question here from Martin Sadler, who's saying, what one piece of new technology does the panel think will make the biggest impact for installers and homeowners? So what one piece of new technology? So briefly, Nick, I'm going to come to you first. Which one's going to have the biggest
impact? I'm going to try and keep that down to windows and doors as opposed to general tech. I think there's, I think it's very much as Gio says a minute ago. There needs to be a really quick and easy, or the installers need to see that there is a way that they can embrace or sell or push, to use the analogy that we were talking about earlier, to have their confidence reinstated within technology, that they're prepared to even talk about it or push it, because that confidence was there once a long time ago, but they've had their fingers burnt. So I think they need to have hands-on experience with product that reinstates that confidence. And once you've reinstated that confidence with the installers, then you can get to the point of the promotion. It's not just us talking about it, it's not just Gio talking about it, it's not just people at our level talking about it. Then you've got thousands of installers starting to talk about it, and that amplifies the noise enormously. But, you know, and as Gio alluded to earlier, yeah, I think the front runners and the early runners in this market, in this world for us, kind of wrecked it for everybody else that was following through, and gave installers an experience that they wanted to go and give a wide berth to. So I think what's going to make the difference, what product's going to come through, I think any product that you know, can give that degree of confidence, whether or not that confidence is achieved because it's done to the point where the installer needs to not get involved, or the approach that we take with it is, you know, the installer is involved, but it's fitted and set up in under 5 minutes, with no wires, no electrics, no plugs, no anything. In which case, then it's just a training issue.
Thank you for that. And, you know, brilliant point to be making there around that, kind of making it as simple as possible for the installers, because they are then naturally going to be the advocates and more comfortable and confident to be able to talk to homeowners about that. And Jay, coming to you, just very briefly, if you can, for us, put you on the spot, the product that you think is going to make the biggest impact in the market.
I think I agree with Alan and Nick. Sorry, not Alan, sorry, with Gio and Nick. There's a technology coming up called Matter, M-A-T-T-E-R, that should make installers' life easy. For I think one of the things that we've always focused around is, if a product is going to take anything more than 3 minutes to set up, then don't build that product. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is, installer is a consumer. That's the bottom line. As a consumer, if it's going to take 3 minutes, more than 3 minutes to set up the product, then don't build that product. So that's where we are focused around, and pretty much everything. And I can tell you, a smart door lock or a smart window can be set up in less than 3 minutes, and we have seen that with the gas installers, you know, the boiler installers. They were just installing boilers, and now they all set up a thermostat just like that. So I think people will change, and there are some specific problems with smart homes, but that's been talked about right now. Ultra wide broadbands, Matter, these are key two technologies that I think will change things. But short term, set it up quickly.
You've left the door open for a shameless plug there, Jay, that our record so far is 1 minute 53 seconds.
There you go. There you go. So I put 3 minutes, actually. Ours is 50 seconds.
Love a bit of healthy competition.
Yeah.
Gio, anything that you want to add from that in terms of a product that's going to make the biggest impact on the market?
A product that is able to monitor your windows to tell you whether they're open or closed, and doors whether they're open or closed reliably, and it can be done in 10 seconds. So I kind of beat all you guys. That's it. I think, okay, I need to add on that just very briefly. It's definitely divided into two sectors. The sector that Era and Nick is in at the moment, which is remote accessing, which is very, very important. But in my opinion, especially for the short term, it is definitely in the minority, because it's too expensive and there's not enough trust. You know, that might change in 5, 6, 7, 10 years time. But right now, I don't think they're the products to go for. Even that, and these are probably Era and Nick are probably the two best products out there, actually, by the way, that do what they do the best. Okay, so I need to give them props.
Just a quick one on that, Gio. We're not focused around just remote access alone. Yeah. I think I'm 100% with you. Remote access is 10%, 20%. There are products coming that has nothing to do with remote access.
Okay, you've got. Yeah, I'm talking about when it comes to windows and doors, because we're focusing on windows and doors. You guys, your portfolio of smart kind of expands beyond windows and doors.
Yeah.
So okay, I like to focus what I'm saying just purely on windows and doors, and not think outside of windows and doors, because maybe the areas for people to ask for when it comes outside windows and doors, because they have much more experience. And they also have Jay, and he comes from outside the windows and door sector. That's the reason why Jay was brought in, to expand their product knowledge and smart. But I'm focused on windows and doors because, after all, we are in a kind of window and door meeting, whatever it's called. So yeah, that's what it is: monitoring and security, and making sure. I agree with the Jay and Nick that they have to be super fast to fit.
Thank you so much for that. And I'm, again, just conscious we are really over time, but I've got one more question. Well, I have two, but I think John Cowie was asking if the answer to there not being much awareness around smart tech was that it was low. What were we going to do to help? But I think we've talked about installer confidence and how actually helping installers feel more confident will drive that word of mouth and that advocacy to homeowners. So, John, I hope we've answered your question in the series of the debate. But I've got a question from Steph from Building Our Skills, who's been on the full 2 days now. So thanks, Steph, for all your comments. And it's quite an interesting one, actually. We talked a lot about skills and about attracting talent into the industry yesterday. So if window or door technology specifically and the installation of it was to be included in new qualifications or existing qualifications, will it help towards an awareness? Obviously conscious that technology, it is going to be that younger probably consumer who we're appealing to, who feels more confident, comfortable using tech. So does it need to feature more in the qualifications and the training programs that we're running? Nick, don't know if you've any thoughts on that one.
I think naturally, yeah, that links straight back into what we were saying a moment ago. The younger generation that's coming through as time moves on, they will naturally be more confident and be more conversant with smart tech. They've been brought up around it, where there was a time when we didn't have mobile phones. So I think the more conversant they are with it, they'll be more comfortable with it. They'll be less afraid of it. And I think a degree of training will obviously help, but I don't think it's going to be as necessary, because I think there's going to be, I think the new generation and the younger generation that's coming into the industry will almost be looking for it and be expecting it anyway. Plus, they won't have been burnt in bygone years.
Of course, yeah. Jay, any thoughts on that from you in terms of how young people might be, how they might help others adopt to using technology, and do we need it more in the training that we're seeing in the industry?
I think we do need some training, but I'm with Nick actually. I think this is self-explanatory. If you are to train people in certain technologies nowadays, and that means the product failed. So it all started as DIY, or the whole smart home, smart technology, and we should continue that. But a basic training using videos and stuff like that, it's not going to be a huge amount of training. Nobody's ready for that. So I think that's what the first set of people did in the door and window, and that pushed people away. And when I joined the industry 2 years ago, I straight away saw that push from others. Anything to do with smart, that's a hobby. We don't want to touch it. Yes, but I think that's changing. Yeah.
It's like the less there is in the box, the more attractive it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Gio, final word from you on whether you think there's any benefit to including smart tech installation in qualifications and apprenticeships.
I think there is. Speaking from a sector that I have, a big involvement in both the hardware sector and hardware design and the smart sector, and I'm heavily involved in both, so I can speak with a kind of high degree of confidence. Is that in the hardware sector, I think there's definitely a call for people with a little bit more knowledge when it comes to smart. And in the smart sector, I cannot be honest with you. I think you can only employ the very best when they're young, because they're naturally coming through the world of smart. So we only, I think our average kind of age in our smart department is well under 30. Your same question in the window sector is probably a lot more older than that. So no, I think that that will naturally become part and parcel of kind of any training or early training or any prerequisite in their CV, is that they had some sort of experience in smart. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it feels like it will naturally come as we say, those people.
I think it will naturally be a natural evolution.
yeah, it'll just be evolution. So I am going to draw this to a close. It's been 2:15 and we have been talking for an hour when I said I would only hold you for about 45 minutes. So thank you so much, but you can
Can I just finish on a quote?
Of course you can.
I'll finish on a quote. If I asked people what they had, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, Henry Ford. Okay, I got sent that a quote by a friend. We have to find ways of selling windows faster. That's the bottom line. And I think it was and that will benefit every single person in the sector.
Thank you for that. Yeah, well-known quote and well used. Great context for that. So thank you so much for all of you for joining today. There is loads more we could have talked about. We didn't nearly get through all of our questions, but that's because we had so many from our audience. So thank you so much. We've had a great audience members here today listening to you. So thank you for being so engaging and keeping the audience throughout. That ends our Fit Show online live event that's been running for the last couple of days. All of the sessions that we've had over the last 2 days will be available on YouTube, or if you come back into Crowdcast to watch if you want to catch up on anything. But as we've said throughout, we did just want to do something right now to bring the community back together and to start feeling like we can start networking again. And there's some conversations started over the last few days that just keep them going now. People are saying, oh, I've not spoken to you through the whole of the pandemic, but it's been great to actually just see you in a chat box. I'm going to give you a call next week. So keep that going for the next few months. We wanted to try and just inspire some conversations and some collaboration in the industry. It's been brilliant to have you all here. Thank you for sticking with us. I know the tech has been a little bit glitchy at times, but we got there in the end. So thank you to all of our speakers who've given up their time and their effort to put their presentations together and to consider questions. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to know and hear and see at Fit Show 2022. We cannot put a seminar program together without you. So please, all of you, let us know what you want to see at the show, and we will do our very best to bring it for you. Apart from that, have a brilliant 6 to 8 months, however many months it is until May 2022. We can't wait to see you back on the show floor. Have a brilliant time, and thank you so much for coming. See you all later, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.